A Plaguelands Media production.
Hey everyone, this is Hugh from Plaguelands Media bringing you another book review today, so cheers. Now, this is kind of a strange one in that it is an old Dungeons & Dragons novel set in the Forgotten Realms, but very much like the Maztica Trilogy I have already read and reviewed on this channel. You can go and find those videos, they're fucking awesome. This book is kind of historical fantasy wrapped up in the Dungeons and Dragons kind of universe. This is a book that my brother, once again, said that I should read back when I was in high school, and I never did because I didn't like the cover. And I know they say never judge a book by its cover, but we all know that's fucking bullshit. We always do it. That book is Horselords by David Cook, book 1 in the Empire Trilogy. And you can see that cover there. Doesn't look very Dungeons and Dragons-y at all, which is kind of what turned me off about it. Now, this book is basically Genghis Khan and the Mongols trying to invade China, although the setting itself is part of the Forgotten Realms called Karatur, and the Mongols are the, and I'm going to butcher names, so please forgive me, the Tweegan Horde, and Genghis Khan, the character is called Yamun, who is the Khan of all of these clans of barbarian-esque warriors. It is very much just the Mongol invasion of China, but with a fantasy spin with magic and gods and priests and all of that kind of stuff. Now, I only read this book purely because of how much I loved the Maztica trilogy and how much I regretted not reading that back in the day. So I thought I would read this on the Kindle. These books are pretty hard to get these days. They don't reprint them. Wizards of the Coast don't reprint them or anything. So Kindle's really the only way I can read these older Dungeons and Dragons novels. But from a slow start, this thing ramped up to a freaking peak for me, and it was absolutely fantastic. It was fun. There was war, intrigue, murder. Although there are only two traditional monsters, I guess you would call them, in the book itself, that didn't detract from the enjoyment of it, although I do like my Dungeons and Dragons novels with a little more kind of fantasy flair. This was a hell of a lot of fun. The story itself is basically your main character is this priest of the god Furo, who comes as an envoy to this Khan Yamun, and subsequently becomes embroiled in the life of the Tweegan and their desire to conquer. While there are some kind of similarities historically, it really is its own thing and a lot of fun. And I am really looking forward to reading the second book in the Empire Trilogy, Dragonwall. There is a very small reference to King Azaun IV, who is the ruler of Cormyr in the Western Heartlands, which is pretty much where most Dungeons and Dragons were set at the time. It is basically a throwaway line, and then we just get straight into this horde of barbarians going off to conquer other nations. In this case, the Khazari, and eventually they are going up against Shaolong, which is the equivalent of ancient China. So yes, I love this book. It was a fun read, very enjoyable. I just finished it last night, which is why I'm doing the review today. So everything is still fresh in my mind. If you don't want it spoiled, go and find another video on the Plaguelands Media channel. They are all freaking awesome. But if you want to know exactly what happens in the story, then stick around for the next episode of
Read a fucking book. Read a fucking book. People.
Okay, so let's just get right into the story of Horselords. Cheers, everyone, again. The reason I'm cheersing again is because this is the day after I recorded the introduction, and I just need this. So, the story starts with Koja, our main character, being led from this kind of gathering by Chinar, who is the general of the Kahan's army. He's being led to his city as an envoy. And he's going as an envoy of Prince Ugandi, who is the prince of this other province. And he comes to this giant kind of tent city, and he is, given to the Kahan, the guy Yamun, and he slowly ingratiates himself into their culture, the Tugan way of life, and slowly builds up trust with Yamun and becomes his historian. So it's Koja's duty to basically jot down everything that is going on. And Yamun wants to conquer the country, I believe it's known as Khazari, I might be saying that wrong, where Koja comes from, and uses him to find out how many fortifications they have, how many soldiers, what the... let me just bring this up again. There we go, Horselords. What the defense of this country would be like. Koja is stuck between a rock and a hard place, and he tries to get Yamun to conquer peacefully so that the Khazari won't lose their culture and things like that. So while this is going on, we find out that there are some players behind the scenes, namely Yamun's wife, formerly stepmother. In their culture, when the father dies, the elder son will basically marry the mother, and she will become the empress of the Tugan horde, Baelun. And we find out that not only is she a magic user, she basically hates her fucking stepson, and the reason being, it's implied that the stepson, well, Yamun murdered his father to take control of the Tugan horde. So they march on this country. They are like tens of thousands of soldiers are doing this, and it's this, the first city is called Manus, and they devise a plan to take this city out. It's basically a pincer movement. Lure them in with the middle and then have the sides kind of come in and trap them. Which works, but in doing so, Yamun is grievously wounded. And the reason why he's wounded is because the emperor of the nation of Shaolong has sent a fox spirit, a Hugh Shen, to help with the assassination, and Balin has sent one of her wizards to help as well. So during the battle, Yamun is grievously wounded, but Koja, being a priest, manages to heal him. They do not reveal this so that the army think that he is dead. And in doing so, they are going to try and work out who was the betrayer. The army call for... the battle, by the way, is actually successful. The army call for a meeting to see who will become the new Kahan, and they all want Shinar to be that person. Shinar declines, and ultimately it comes out that the Kahan didn't die, and it's almost like he's been resurrected from the dead, and the army's like, holy shit, this is fucking awesome, blah, blah, blah. So we have some suspects. We have the Emperor of Xiaolong, we have Balin, of course, and the Kahan decides, well, let's just go and fucking conquer Xiaolong. Fuck it. We've already conquered this place. And there's a whole kind of political thing with ambassadors and shit like that. And ultimately, the Kahan, Yamun, puts his son Jed in the position of power in the city of Manus that they just kind of took over. But his goal now is to go and conquer Xiaolong. A feat that has been tried by many, but has never succeeded because of the Dragon Wall. Think of it as the Great Wall of China. And Koja tries to talk him out of it. He is having none of that. All the while, we find out that his wife/stepmother, the second empress, has been talking with people in Xiaolong through magic, and her goal is to basically kill her stepson and put someone else in a position of power that she can control. In this case, it's going to be Shinar, who is the Andu of Yamun, Andu meaning relative. It's also a position that he has bestowed upon Koja because Koja saved his life during the battle. So there is a lot of politics and shit in a Dungeons and Dragons novel. Is it a bad thing? Nope. I actually really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great kind of takeaway from the hack and slash swords and sorcery style novels that I've been typically reading. So they start to march on Xiaolong. The priest Koja is getting these dreams of this wall being something other than it's not. The wall itself, the dragon wall, is actually literally a dragon wall. An early emperor of the Xiaolong dynasty tricked a dragon earth spirit into becoming the wall, and it is trapped and wants to be freed, and has been communicating with the priest, saying that only you and Yamun can actually free me from this prison. Others have tried and they have failed, and there's a whole curse backstory thing going on here. Now, the fox spirit and the dragon are the only D&D monsters in this book, which is quite surprising, but doesn't detract from the story in any way, shape, or form. So the Tugan Horde, led by Yamun, march on the Dragon Wall, and their first attempt is a massive fucking failure. As they go to charge the Xiaolong Horde, the earth kind of rises up against them, and they're crushed under rocks and boulders and all this kind of shit. And then Koja has this idea, I will go and talk to the spirit that has been communicating with me and see what the fuck is going on. So he sneaks with some of the Yamun's personal guard, the Kahuns, and they're known as the Kashyyyk, and they go to the wall, and he communicates with the spirit, and the spirit is like, this is what you have to do. You need a sacrifice, and go and talk to the bodies of the dead that you captured, because previously they found a Tugan guard that had been killed. His throat had been slit next to the body of a Shaolong warrior who had been decapitated. And Koja, as a priest, can speak with the dead. So he goes back and he lets the main guy, Yamun, know what is going on. And he talks with the dead and realizes that there are traitors amongst the Tugan, namely Chinar, who has been conspiring with Balin, the stepmother. So they managed the sacrifice, which the dragon in the wall demands this sacrifice, which is basically horses. Now, the Tugan are known as horsemen, hence the title of the book itself, Horselords. So they give this sacrifice. The dragon manages to escape, destroying most of the dragon wall in the process, and offering an opening to the Tugan hordes to now invade Shaolong, which I assume will happen in Book 2, Dragon Wall. But at the end of the novel, Yuman confronts Chinar, his trusted general, and his mother, or stepmother / wife, the second empress. He banishes the second empress, doesn't kill her, but banishes her to a place where there is dead magic. So she can no longer use her spells. And Chinar is given a new posting, but basically it's a death sentence for him. And that is pretty much Horselords without all the minute details of character and whatnot. This was really a fantastic read. It's historical fantasy under the guise of Forgotten Realms, Dungeons and Dragons. And I enjoyed the play between Koja and Yuman. It's almost like, I think the only film correspondence I could come up with, correlation I should say, would be The Last Samurai with Tom Cruise. Just going to say this because I have to for one little plague landing out there. There's a ninja. Okay. Now that I've said that, it was an absolutely phenomenal read. This is one of those rare trilogies as well where the second book is not written by David Cook. It's actually Troy Denning. So every book in this series is written by a different author. Now, I'm not familiar with the Kara-Tur setting as I am with the Western Heartlands of Faerun and the Moonshae Isles, even, and Evermeet and whatnot. So this, for me, was constantly referencing... Let me just bring it up. Constantly referencing the map, which kind of flips, and it flips again, and it's going to keep flipping, but whatever. That's Kindle for you on the tablet, which is fine. I don't mind doing that, but I, just like with the Maztica trilogy, I am now really invested in this setting and want to learn more. With the Maztica trilogy, again, it was something I was not that interested in, but after reading the novels and reviewing them, I really want to know more. I actually purchased the Drive-Thru RPG reprints of some of the early scenarios for 2nd edition Dungeons and Dragons. All in all, this was fun. I mean, this was just fun. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I highly recommend it. Go out there and go back and look at the early D&D novels. They are just well-written stories. They just capture the spirit of what Dungeons and Dragons should be. None of this Wizards of the Coast woke shit. I'm not saying Wizards of the Coast are woke. I'm saying people are complaining that Wizards of the Coast have become woke and they don't like it because of this and that and the other. Just, if you fucking like it, like it. If you hate it. That's perfectly fine. Back in the day, there were settings that I fucking hated for whatever reason. So what did I do? I didn't buy them. I just left them alone. You have the choice. Just do that. Do that with your role-playing. Do that with your books. Do that with your movies. Do that with your comics. No one fucking cares. And with that said, I'm getting a little too preachy, so I'm going to leave it here. If you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, leave a comment. Most importantly of all, share Plaguelands Media with your friends, your family, your co-workers, people on the subway, whoever. It doesn't really matter, but most important of all, this is Chuseok. That is the Korean Thanksgiving, so I give thanks to all of you, my little Plaguelandian friends out there. Enjoy yourself. Give thanks for the things you like. Give thanks for the things you hate. Give thanks for the people around you. All in all, just be thankful. Just be thankful that we have shit like this that we can all enjoy together. Stay safe. Have a fantastic rest of your day, week, month, year, whatever. Most important of all, read a fucking book, people.